This video's gonna be a little different than what I'm used to, than what you're probably used to, honestly. I just, I guess what I should do first is establish why. Why I'm doing this video, why anything's really going on. Why I'm choosing to record in this manner and why I'm choosing to not be on camera, for instance. Why I'm playing the lowest effort game, but at the same time giving myself just enough effort to keep me distracted from, I guess, being too perfect. Oh, let me start at the beginning. I watched a video recently from Reject Convenience. And if you don't know who he is, he's the same guy that's been giving a lot of warnings about, like, different privacy issues and things like that. And a couple months ago, probably. And like you, I I saw it and I thought, I like what this guy has to say, and I subscribed. And he came out with a video very recently, and I it was not about AI and not about how to do things. I mean, it was about how to do things, but it specifically wasn't about AI. Uh, but it was kind of a foil against AI, I guess, if that makes any sense. And I find that amazing. I found it very inspiring. I loved it. It was about his experiences in life and how, we tend to rush to call kids stupid and when really we don't consider consequences and things like that, and how he overcame his fear of being stupid by just trying. And the whole theme was not being afraid of failure. And that got me thinking of a lot of different things. At first, my brain went, oh, the very most important thing that I should do very first is, hey, you know what? I'm tired of doing nothing, and I'm also tired of being afraid, I guess. And so my first thought was, you know what? Balls to the wall. I am going to do something I'm terrified of. I'll link the I'll link the video in the description, by the way. You should really give it a watch. There's no way I can sum it up and say it as well as this guy can. But I then started getting a different fear. A fear that wasn't of, hey, what if you fail? Because I've never really struggled with that fear personally. Um, I mean, I guess so when it comes to failure, but there's something stronger there than failure. It's more of when I really dove into it to see what I could do and what was stopping me when I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to make this big project. I'm going to challenge myself. I am going to do things that I have never done before. And I had a great idea too. I had an idea where it's like, hey, I have this script. I'm going to write it out. I'm going to judge it. I'm going to make sure it flows very well, and I'm going to do amazing at this. I'm going to try animating myself in a way where it's like, hey, I want like 100 mediums or so of animation, everything from crayon drawings to 3D animation to Blender to using presets. Heck, I might even like look into getting a VR avatar or something like that. And I was gonna just animate myself reacting, maybe throwing some jokes in there, and animate myself not reacting, I should say talking. And the fear wasn't of failure, the fear was of burnout. The fear was of, hey, this is gonna take a lot of time and a lot of learning. And you want to do this thing, you want to be cool, and you want it to be perfect. And that's the biggest thing that drove me to make a video like this. is I realize in my creation anyway, in my creations, in my music, in my gaming sessions, in my edits, in my videos like this, I have been overly, I'm not going to say obsessed, but fixated on making something the best I can, no matter what. The absolute best that I have ever made. And I always have to be one-upping myself, and it's never enough. And it's so hard to keep that up for so long. And don't get me wrong, these urges, these desires to be perfect, to be amazing, to brag, those have their places. I mean, there's times where I can hyperfixate, as you all know, with my ADD and bipolar. Sometimes the stars align, and man, when I'm working, I'm working. And that's how I often pump out my work, is just I hyperfixate until it's done. And yeah, there's a level there that's not the healthiest thing on the planet, which I will absolutely be the first to tell you it's bad habits. But I wanted to do something that's so anti me because a lot of people don't do anything that's anti them. If that even makes sense. And by anti them, I mean going against all your anxieties, all of your. Uh, See, I'm thrown off now. But all of your. And I'll touch back on in a second because I want to tell you what's going through my head. But I want to get this point out first. It goes against everything that's screaming at you to do it one way. And why I wanted to get back to that is even now, I'm glad I chose this game because let's take this gameplay as an example. This is a relatively cheap game. It's pretty fun, and there's very little negative consequences, and you can tell by how I'm playing. Like, any pro in this game will say, oh, he's not, like, really actively playing, he's not looking for the points, he's not going in it. And the whole concept of the game is this. You fly, you get close to things, you go through holes. The longer you're close to the things, the more multipliers you get, the more holes you go through, the more points you get, the more portals you go through, the more points you get. And this game, you can tell how I'm playing. I'm not playing, even now, towards my, I don't want to say beliefs, my urges, towards what what I should be playing like in life. I'm playing very safe. I'm not making a lot of risks. I am afraid of failure. I'm afraid of being imperfect. I'm, normally I could be diving down canyons. When I'm playing by myself, I play this game a lot more aggressively. And yeah, so what, Jacob? It's a game. It means nothing, and who cares what you do on your own time? The lesson here is this is very much like life when I'm going at it. I should be not afraid to take risks, to make things tricky, to live a little more on the edge. And the thing is, I don't. And it's not the fear of failure that gets me down. That would be the wrong thing. It's the pursuit of perfection, which is never a bad thing. Again, when you have that energy and when you have the emotional bandwidth and the mental health to produce something amazing, great, do it. But something occurred to me today when I was watching that video that is holding me back, and I'm holding myself too much to an expectation. That's why this video doesn't have a video of me. That's why I'm just talking, just playing a game. It's not scripted, as you can probably tell. I'm just sitting here rambling. And to give a sense into what I'm thinking, like, For the first couple of minutes, I'm not going to lie, my body was screaming at me, saying, hey, you gotta edit this. You gotta change this. You gotta cut it down. You gotta play differently. You gotta act differently. You gotta make more jokes. Where's your script? Where's your script? Where's your script? Heck, even have bullet points. You gotta be this perfect performative thing. How dare you just, for lack of a better phrase, raw dog it? And so, when I realized how much fear I had, how much friction my brain experienced when looking to get into this video, I said, hey, you know what? That's my problem. That's my thing. That's the anti-me. That's not the fear of failure, but the fear of not enough success, I guess. I don't know if I'm even getting this point across correctly. It's the fear of just letting something be. Of just letting it exist. Because one thought cut through everything that I was really, when I was really struggling with it, one thought cut through everything. And that thought was, hey, better to make something that's crappy than to not make anything at all. And I want to try and take a step back with my content and all of my stuff. Yes, I still want to make great things when I'm passionate. And I want to make these amazing, perfect, wonderful, awe-inspiring things and hope to inspire others. But there is so many ideas and so many different pieces of content that you guys will never see or have never seen, maybe we'll see soon, that haven't come to be because I have been so obsessed with this performative art of, oh, look at me. And I've held myself to an extremely high standard. And so I'm specifically doing this. If it's not clear, I tend to repeat myself because repeating myself makes me feel like I'm hounding on that point and I'm reiterating. But at the same time, I promised myself at the beginning of this video that, hey, you're just going to talk until you feel like you get your point across no matter what. You are literally just going to raw dog it no matter what. You are going to let something be. You're going to create it and let it go. And you're going to be okay with that. And yeah, you know what? There's that fear when I really dig into it of like, oh my gosh, everybody's going to hate it. This is going to be the worst thing on the planet. And my brain has that fear. But when I really look back at it at the end of the day, man, part of my brain says, hey, it doesn't matter. Because you know what? I made something. It's easy to criticize, it's hard to create. And that should be enough. I made something. It exists. It's not perfect, it's not terrible, it's not amazing. But I made something and it exists, and it has the possibility to help someone. It may help nobody. I'm hoping this helps somebody. I wouldn't do this if I didn't think it was. I'm hoping it gives perspective and gives people the courage to fail. And not only fail, but risk. And just make without 100% effort. Just a lazy stream, just a lazy video, just a lazy recording, just a lazy gaming session. Not everything you make, not everything you create has to be amazing. It doesn't have to be eye-catching. It doesn't have to get the clicks. It doesn't have to get the comments. It doesn't have to get the algorithm. But what it does have to do is it has to exist. And how many things do we all have that exist that, well, I should say that don't exist because of our fears? How many things died in our brain because we didn't have the ability to do it? It's not that we didn't get the idea across. It's not that we didn't have the means to attempt to get the idea across. It's that we just didn't try because it's not perfect, so it's not worth it. And I don't want that to be me anymore. So I want to make things that count, but I also want to just make a lazy day. And I'm really iterating on this because in today's day and age, I mean, we have AI, which is zero effort. And I'm going to be honest, when AI came out, I was thrilled. I loved AI. Uh, that was until I really learned how much it's really screwing over a lot of artists. But like in my early days, for those of you that don't know, I host a Dungeons and Dragons party, I guess, adventure with my friends, and I used AI a lot. And I said, hey, you know what? I'm not paying them. I will never pay AI. And that was my stance from the beginning before I learned so much. But like, I'm not paying them and I'm not making it to make money, most importantly. And that is that is what I used to justify. And so, it brought my worlds to life. I'm not going to lie. They got to see the characters I could imagine. I could tinker around. And sure, it took some time, but like, they wouldn't have been getting those visual aids anyway. And it was never like maps, but it was like, hey, here's what an NPC looks like. Here's what your location you're in roughly looks like, and stuff like that. And I was able to bring my world to life, and I really loved it. And the problem is, instead of choosing to make those things myself that were imperfect, because that's how I started, because I started D&D uh, before AI became super accessible as it is, or before I got into it anyway. I decided that, like, hey, I'm going to what's the word I'm looking for? I'm going to make everything. And I did. I made visual aids of my D&D campaign. And honestly, they looked like dog crap. And they were terrible. I hate them. I still cringe to this day. But you know what? They were mine. And I made them. And my team, my group saw the effort. And they loved it. And they praised me for it. And then I fell into AI. And it's cool, it's easy, it's simple, and allows me to focus more on the story while having these visual aids, but it's not the same. And it's cheating a lot of people out of their livelihoods. And I could probably dive down and get into the direct feed, but that's not the point of this video. Direct link, sorry, and how like my actions could hurt artists and things like that. But the point I bring this up is, how many pieces of art did I lose because I chose to take the easy way out? I would much rather make something that looks like trash, looks like crap, that has soul, than use AI that is soulless, use zero effort, or maybe 5% effort, because everybody says, oh, it's zero effort, you can just generate exactly what you want. That hasn't been my experience. That's besides the point, though. It takes a little bit of effort, but honestly, still nothing compared to what actual artists make. Trust me, I am one. Uh, and I guess, I don't know. I would much rather something crappy that's mine than something semi good that's not. And I guess I'm making this video to prove myself, one, I can do it, that not everything has to be perfect, and it'll still perform, it'll still be good, it'll still get views, it'll still function, you know. But also to prove that, hey, just sitting down and talking with a game in the background, it's a heck of a lot better than AI could ever do. And even if it's just lazy, even if it's just this, you know, it's still value. And again, everything in my brain is shouting at me to not do this. Everything still is shouting at me in my doubts. And you'll see that's why I'm pausing, because when I'm trying to have a real conversation, I pause all the time, especially when it gets deep, because I like to think about things, but also I gotta silence my ADD brain. And you know, a couple pauses ago, it's just like, hey, okay, you know, you're fine, it's okay, don't freak out. It's, you can edit this, you can cut this down. Oh, but people won't like it. Oh, but you need to throw more jokes in. Oh, you need to do this. Oh, you need to do that. And I promise myself this will be the most raw, and it's turning out to be one of the most honest videos I think I've personally ever done. In a real heart-to-heart moment. And yeah, I had some older videos where I got real, but looking at it then, I feel like I was playing it up and I was dramatizing. Honestly, I was a teen. I'm 28 now, for those that don't know. I'm 28 as of March. And it's coming up in December. So, essentially 28. But, my point is, I'm doing this to challenge me, and it's not for anybody else. I mean, yeah, if it helps people, great. And yeah, if it helps give perspective, and, well, okay. Let's be honest, I lied. This is for everybody else. Of course, why would I make it? I don't make anything that's not for anybody else, that's just for me. But this one's just going to be a little more for me. A lot more for me. Still for you guys. But it's for me too. Sometimes you gotta make promises to yourself and see how they turn out. And I guess that's what I'm doing here. Is, hey, I made a promise this would be raw. And that's what, and I'm not going to edit it. The only thing I'm going to edit on this video is the very beginning, which is the difference between hitting the record button and starting the game, so you guys don't see my desktop. Not that I'm scared of it, but, you know, that will be the only edit. Because even something that's this crappy is still worth making. It's still worth talking about. It exists. Versus a project that died because it didn't reach my standards of perfection. Or a project that died because I didn't want to try and fail at it. Or a project that I burned out on months from now. This now just exists, and I got what I wanted to say out there. I think I got my point. I think I know what you guys... Well, I think you guys are picking up what I'm laying down. And... yeah, I think you got my point. I don't like AI. I don't think a lot of people should use AI. And I feel bad for using it, and I want to stop using it. And I want to stop holding myself to a standard, because if I were to step outside of myself and see somebody else making all my same excuses, which is a great therapeutic tool, by the way, I highly recommend it. That and Act As If, but that's another story. I would probably tell them, just make the thing. Just let it be. Why are you stressing so much on something that's supposed to give you joy and that's supposed to help people? If it's gonna help people, it's gonna help people. Now, a note that comes to mind is so many people, not so many, not so many people. Let me restart that sentence. Again, no editing. AI isn't a start. It's just a more efficient way. Mankind, since the internet, has been making slop from day one. I'm talking about clickbaity, long drawn out stuff to get your views, to keep the watch time, to uh, get as much monetization as physically possible. And this used to be a real problem. I haven't seen it in a while, but it exists. And now it's just translated to AI slop. Well, there was human slop far beforehand. So I'm not saying that oh, AI is bad because it creates slop. It is bad because it creates slop, but you know what? It wasn't the first one. Humans create slop too. So I guess this is an anti-slop video. I'm not saying do I'm not saying do so little effort that it is slop. You should still take pride in what you do. Like, I'm taking time to say what I'm going to say, and I picked this game because of how brain dead it is for me, and I'm playing it in a way that's not too distracting for me. I made some choices to make some effort into this. This isn't 0% effort, it's 25% effort. And effort's not the right phrase because the people who make the slop to try and get your eyes, to try and get your views, to try and get the viewing bucks that you spend, that's effort. That's not easy to do. They have to think that up, they have to put it together, and they have to work hard on it. It's passionless, and it's cheap, and it's annoying, and it's a waste of every time, and it adds no value. I guess what I'm trying to say is low effort, easygoing, cruise along the line, work like this, which isn't not work, it's just a little less so, isn't valueless. And we should all strive to create value. And we should stop leaving value on the table because it's not 100% perfect, because it's not all the value you want to possibly provide. It's just sad of how much is lost. I mean, I would argue, I haven't done this myself, but I would challenge you to carry a notebook with you, or like one of those button clickers that you click each time you have a happy thought or whatever. And, that just count up one each time you click it. I would say, hey, why don't you click it every time you have an idea and you don't take action? Not like a crappy idea of, oh, I should jump off this cliff. How weird would that be? But I'm talking like a creativity idea. An idea that you could legitimately do with your means and your time and your effort and your mental health. Every time you have an idea and you don't take action on it, or it doesn't come to pass. I don't know about you, but for me, that number would skyrocket. I have so many songs, music, lyrics, poems, even writings, books, so many things that have died in my life because I just didn't do it, because I'm holding myself to this high standard. And I feel like I'm beating a dead horse again, and I probably am. But that wouldn't be a bad challenge. I would honestly think that most people would be surprised at how much we're leaving on the table because we're trying to keep things good up to our standard. When really, I mean, there's these creators out there that I feel like dodge it. They probably don't, but it feels like they dodge it, where there's just no shame, no fear, and they they just put crap out and they just pump it out, and no matter if it's funny or if it's stupid or if it's anything, pardon me, if it's anything, they're they're pumping it out. And you know what? They're consistent. And consistency matters in this game. It absolutely does. And when I say this game, I'm talking specifically about, YouTube and video creation, but this can also be of art as well. And they're just like, oh, haha, it's dumb or whatever. And like, it seems like they can put their pride aside and just create, and that's amazing. I wish I could do that. I wish I could just turn it off sometimes, but I can't until now. And I'm not saying I can just turn it off, but I'm practicing at it. I'm practicing at failing, at being low effort, still providing value, but not squeezing every single piece of value, every single piece of effort out. I guess another way to look at it is life is stressful right now, guys. Like, it's really stressful. I don't talk about politics much. I make a point to try and kind of avoid it. I'm not going to get into it here, but which side of the aisle you're on, where you land, economy-wise, everything is a rough time. And when you're this stressed, you leave more things on the table because, well, you leave more things. Your bandwidth to handle and to create is shorter. And when you have these high standards, unfortunately, at least for me, I mean, let me know if I'm wrong, but unfortunately, all my stuff dwindles. I don't create as much. Things get left on the table, and the value stays the same. The frequency and the amount goes down. And I hate that. I really, really do. I hate that we live in a world where art has to make money, where we have to work so hard to provide value to survive. And when I say value here, I mean like value to society and stuff, not like value in emotions and human speech and connection, like I've been talking about earlier in this video. It sucks. And so taking on a more relaxed form, a more chilled out take on creation, I don't think is unhealthy. And yeah, you know what? It may seem low effort, and maybe you like the high effort stuff, but I would rather, again, beating that dead horse, I would much rather see low effort stuff from you than nothing from you. It kind of sucks when you get to a point where you can actually see your art, your creation, your influence degrade because of the situations you're in. It really does suck. But that doesn't mean we gotta stop. That doesn't mean, in fact, I would argue we have a responsibility to never stop. But that doesn't mean we gotta run ourselves into the dust. That doesn't mean it has to make every dollar. That doesn't mean it has to be entertaining. That doesn't mean it even has to hit the algorithm. It has to get to all the viewers. Yeah, we have I have a responsibility to you guys. I don't want to just drop off the map. Honestly, I've been horrible. The 16 of you that are here know that. Thank you, by the way, for sticking around. You probably forgot you were subscribed to me. You're like, whoa, he makes music now? Whoa, he does this now? Whoa, that's a video. That's a person I haven't seen. So, thank you. I forgot where I was going with that. Yeah, well, probably not important. Probably not. Anyway, just some things I've been thinking about, want to get off my chest. Something I should say, and something I should say sooner rather than later. And I guess a test for me as well. But yeah, just, it was a really good, insightful, deep video. I really liked his points and what he said. I'll throw it in the description. Please give it a watch. Give him some support. Seems like an honest to goodness guy. Do I love all his editing techniques? Nah. Do I have to? Nah. We just talked about quality, and that's another thing. On the other hand, like, don't judge so much. Don't judge so harshly. I shouldn't. I should be happy it exists in today's day and age. Not only is the bravery to say something, but the ability, the creation of it should be respected. There's a lot more times where instead of critiquing, instead of saying, "Oh, I wish it was this," I never liked critics that much, and I like Ratatouille. This sounds crazy and weird and small, and well, welcome to AD&D land. I liked Ratatouille because there's a line about how us critics could never aspire to make something, and it's much harder to be a creationist, an artist, than it is to critique what exists. And I never like critics because honestly, our response to anyone critiquing is like, okay, make it better. Okay, you don't like my video. Okay, you don't like my, this format. You don't like blah blah blah. Why don't you make it? I don't see you pumping out videos. I don't see you doing all this stuff. Yeah, well. Okay. Well, they had all those reasons and probably more. And it's still created. So when you're looking at these things and you're seeing these low efforts, I mean, we should all have some empathy. Heaven knows there's not enough going around these days. And heaven knows we need it. Human connections dwindling. Sorry, I went to silence on a really bleak note. Finding a way to get out of it here, but I guess I'll have to point back to that video that inspired me to make this one, to kind of throw it all on the line and be straight up honest, is take the time to be kind, reconnect. Kindness is super important. Again, he says it much better than I did, because he put effort into it. And I applaud him for it. So yeah, not everything you make has to be gold. Not everything you make has to be perfect. I'd much rather something, just to wrap everything up here, I'd much rather something half done, half baked than nothing at all. And I would much rather hear you than never hear you, see you than never see you. You can make it good later. But for now, just get used to making. Just get used to putting things out there. And I know it's tempting. Don't use AI to do it. There's so much free stuff online. So many free things that you can do and you can use and you can learn how to teach yourself. Learn online. Heck, invest a little in yourself, in talents and skills, if you were in a place to do so. But don't fall into that trap. It's not worth it. Just don't. Instead, create, make, be kind. I'd much rather a crappier artist than somebody who can use AI, because anybody can use AI. Anyway, that's my soapbox. It's going to be really hard to not edit this and post it, and really hard to title it something different than I promised myself of titling it. But I hope you guys are all doing well. I just want to check in and, I don't know, just be real. You'll probably see more coming from me, I hope. I don't know. Because I'm going to really try and promise myself. I'm going to try and keep to the standard of, you know what? Not everything needs to be perfect. Might start streaming again. Just playing, just talking, chatting with my buddies, staying connected, creating. You know, living life. I'll be excited to do it with all of you. Anyway, I'm rambling. I probably repeated myself 100 times by now. But having that said, you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. And I'll catch you later.